Namaste, everybody. Lamaria Kamara here, and I want to share with you some insights today. And what I want to speak on today has to do with being intentional creators and attachments, holding on and letting go. So first of all, I'm going to light a little bit of copal incense. I'm sitting here today on this gorgeous day, and the birds are calling. The sky is beautiful and blue. It's just, it's a blessed day. So I've been listening to a lot of stories of friends and clients. People have been sharing stories with me about what everybody's going through right now. And this is a real challenging time for, I guess, all of humanity. Everybody has, challenges that we're being faced with, and those challenges are in direct correlation to whatever is going on in our life that is that we're attached to, that's keeping us in any kind of vibration that does not feel happy, that does not feel free, that does not feel creative, that anything that doesn't feel like it's natural, like it's where we're supposed to be, because we are supposed to be moving towards being in resonance with whatever it is that we are here to do, with our purpose, right? We all have a purpose, and that purpose is tied to our joy, our prosperity, our freedom, our love of life, our ability to have the kind of life that we really want in the way that brings us happiness and fulfillment. So if we're not living that life, then we may be feeling some pressures to make some choices. So I was inspired to do this Facebook Live because I've been hearing a lot of experiences, and I've had my own experiences too, which I'll share with you a few of those experiences. But I've been hearing a lot of stories around people having to make really difficult choices around their jobs. And a lot of times these are jobs that they have been on maybe for a really long time, that they are invested in terms of time, and probably making great money. I recently was told of a story of a couple who both of them work for the government. They have a couple of children who are in private school, and the institutions, including the school, they have mandates. And so in order to continue to go to the school and continue to work, right, you have to conform to the mandate. And if you don't conform to the mandate, then the job goes, and the private school goes away. And when those things go away, then of course then everything else is questionable, right? So this is a couple who, they make great money, They have a beautiful home. They've got a couple of luxury vehicles. They have a lot of beautiful things. They've invested in this wonderful lifestyle. They've got a few timeshares. They have, as I said, invested in a certain kind of lifestyle. So all of this lifestyle is dependent on the money that they make from their jobs. Not only that, they have been expecting, that they'll have a retirement. That this job is going to take them all the way to retirement, and they'll be able to retire, and continue, this wonderful lifestyle. That it will be sustained. And so, like this couple, and like a lot of people, and I'll just keep my reference to what everybody's going through right here in the United States, because where I live, and this is where most of you live, that everybody's being sort of called to the carpet, that we are, it's my notes. My computer just kind of went a little wonky, and I wanted to keep some notes to keep me on point. But anyway, what's happening is that everyone is facing choices, big choices, and sometimes when we are facing these kind of massive choices, like in the example of this couple, they felt like they didn't have a choice. So they did what they had to do to conform to the mandate, not only for themselves, but for their children as well, so that they could, sustain the lifestyle that they have. So the question that we're all being faced with is, how much freedom do you really want in your life? Do you want to be free, or do you want to be in fear? Right? This is the question. Because if you have to make a choice because you're afraid that if you don't, you will lose these attachments that you have to your things, it's not necessarily true. You might have to give up some things, but you might not. But I think the lesson for all of us is, number one, we need to detach. We need to be willing to let stuff go, because most of the time, all this stuff that we hold on to is not at all connected to our happiness. It is not at all connected to the life that we really want to create for ourselves. It's just stuff that we're invested in, and we want to hold on to it because we're attached to these values and these identities, right? But not our happiness. So if we feel like we have to make choices, if we feel like we have to make a choice that we don't want to make, or we feel like we don't have a choice, then that's a choice. But it's a choice made out of fear and not out of power. So when we make choices out of fear, what is fear? Fear is this energy that lives in us that has been, enslaved. It's really, that's kind of the short of it. It is energy that is trapped and held in bondage within ourselves. So whenever we step into an area that's unknown, and this energy, it comes up, or it it starts to flow through us. And instead of allowing it to just flow, if we suppress the impulse to allow the unknown to unfold, if we suppress that, then that energy that otherwise is free flowing energy gets repressed. It gets pushed down into the depths of our being, and it's held there, as this dormant, energy that just wants to be free. So the more we go through that process of suppressing and suppressing and suppressing, it just kind of becomes this build up energy within us, and it becomes more of this big ball of fear that becomes a fear of just about everything that's unknown, or everything that doesn't feel comfortable, everything doesn't feel good. And it never quite feels good to release fear, but it's liberating to release it. It's like taking a dive off of a cliff, and jumping into the water and realizing that the water really feels good, but you're holding yourself back from that whole experience. But once you did it, it's like, wow, this is totally liberating. So what I want to say is that we all have the opportunity on this planet, in this country, to decide if we want to be free or not. And in the case of the couple, the unknown is the unknown. Maybe they would have to let go of some things. Maybe they'd have to let go of a lot of things. But stepping into freedom opens up so much space and for new things to come in, for the things that you really desire to come in. So if we truly want to be free, then we've got to be willing to release and let go of the stuff that we're attached to. Now, I had an experience recently, and it was very interesting because I had went through a move. I moved from one city to another, to a new city, and I actually had to release a lot of things, not because I had intentionally decided to release a lot of things, but it was sort of like the universe just kind of, some things happened, and I lost a lot of valuables, things I had invested in over the years, equipment for my design, my art supplies, all kinds of things that, that I really had intended to keep. But I had to let them go because they were gone, and that was that. But in releasing all of that stuff, I found this wonderful new life for myself. And in the process of going through, this transition into this new life, I settled into this beautiful place, and I became a minimalist, and I love it. I love not having a lot of stuff. I have exactly what I need, and it feels good. I've got space and room to create new things. And since I've moved into this place, all kinds of amazing opportunities have been showing up. Things that I've been sending into creation, and just like, things have just been manifesting, beautiful, amazing manifestations. But I had an experience where I have I ended a relationship after a long-term relationship. We went our separate ways, and I found out that some of the boxes that I thought had just disappeared in my move actually ended up with the ex. So I hadn't thought about these things. I had just let them go. I didn't even know what things they were. That's how unattached I was to them. But one day these boxes showed up, and when I opened them up, everything inside was broken. All these broken dishes, plates, things that I had over the years. And I suddenly started remembering, all these wonderful meals, on these beautiful dishes, um, occasions, people, all these wonderful memories, all, from looking into this box of broken dishes. And I got really angry. I had a choice in that moment to just appreciate what once was and release it. And it was interesting. That morning, I was listening to Muji on YouTube, and Muji was he was talking about attachment, and he said, he was talking about attachment, and he was talking about being able to experience ourselves as consciousness, not as the ego and the personality self, but really experience ourselves as the true self, and at the same time living our lives and enjoying, the world of form, but knowing who we truly are. And he was saying, he said, it can take a while to, settle into it. And he said, you never know until that moment arrives whether you will choose, what choice you'll make. You don't know until that moment comes if you will choose freedom, or, if you just may choose to not let go. And I thought, wow, yeah, that's powerful. I'm gonna, I'm gonna practice letting go all day today. And when those boxes came and I looked in and I saw all the broken glass, and all the memories came flooding back to me, and I thought about all the precious moments, of that past life, that life that's no longer here. It's another lifetime. But I thought about it, and suddenly I didn't want to let go. And I got angry about it, and I thought, wow, you could have packed them better, why did this have to happen? And I found myself just really holding on to all these broken memories, right? Everything's broken. It's all symbolic for releasing it. And it took me a little while to work through my emotions. And then I started remembering what Muji said. And I started observing myself, my thoughts, and how I was handling this whole experience. And, at that moment, I realized, wow, this is just a box of, they're just dishes. That's all they are, And I wasn't even missing them. I didn't even know what was in the boxes. I had forgotten all about them. And as soon as I opened them up and I saw them, I held on. I chose to hold on and not let go. So I think that it's a practice for all of us to be the observer, the watcher, the witness, and the actor on the stage of our life. Because we are all of that. And as we move through life and we start to notice, when we're feeling a certain kind of way, a vibration, a resonance, that feels good, or a fear or anxiety or an anger that's popping up, that we can watch ourselves. We can start practicing the watching of ourselves, because we are we are absolute consciousness as much as, the absolute is. And the ego and the personality self is the actor on the stage. So when we get out of our ego and we start to actually observe what's going on, that means we're starting to step into our consciousness. We're suddenly becoming awake, right? And so we don't have to feel like we don't have a choice. We always have a choice. And even if we choose, like I did, to hang on, it can just be as a lesson. We can still get the lesson, right? We can get the lesson, and then we can let go and release it and say, wow, I see what I was doing, I got that. I got that lesson. And just let it go and forgive and release it all. And so I think that's what the mastery is all about. And I think that we have this amazing opportunity to let go of everything that is not connected to our joy, our happiness, and our fulfillment. And yeah, it's true. You don't know how it's all going to turn out. You don't know what you're going to have to go through in that releasing. You don't know. There is the unknown. But the other side of that is that we are the master creators. We are the creators. We're not in this as powerless beings. We actually are creating our reality every single moment, through our thoughts, through our emotions, through our actions, through our intentions. Yeah, we are. And it brings to mind a system. There's a lot of different systems that describe consciousness, a lot of different systems. But there's one system that's really simple that I like to refer to, and it's 4 levels of consciousness. One level is the victim. The next level up is victor consciousness. Then there's vessel consciousness, and then there's what's called verity or oneness. Now, victim consciousness is that consciousness that says, everything is always happening to me. I don't have any control over everything. This person did this to me. That person did that to me. If I don't have a choice. I have to, I have to conform. What else am I supposed to do? The victim consciousness is the sense that you have no power. And then the next level up is victor consciousness. That's where, you step into your power and you say, okay, I actually do have some power, and not only do I have power, but I'm responsible for this, and I did that, and I control this, and I can make this happen. And victor consciousness is like really, it's being in your ego for sure, It's in a lot of ways that consciousness that says, even when there's a whole team of people who brought something to fruition, it's that person who's at the head and who says, I did this, I alone am responsible for this, that I make things happen, and nothing else and no one else, is responsible for this except for me. And then there's the vessel consciousness, and the vessel consciousness basically says that the universe conspires to make, to bring things to me, that I and the universe are, that we work symbiotically, and that, I set my intentions, and that, the divine flows through me, divine consciousness flows through me, that I'm in service to humanity, and the universe uses me as its vessel, you know. So, and then there's oneness consciousness, and oneness consciousness is basically saying there's no separation between, the sun is coming up, sun is going down in the west. There's no separation between the divine and me. The divine and me are one. I am that, right? I am absolute consciousness, and that's a state of consciousness that we achieve by practicing, not just practicing, being the witness, the observer of ourselves as we observe the personality that we express as we observe the ego that is that aspect of our personality, or that is our personality. So, of course, the ego is ultimately supposed to serve divine consciousness. But until we awaken to our true self of who we are, that is something that, we have to activate within ourselves. So, yeah, we're in times of great change right now, but this is a time that can be extraordinarily fearful and challenging and difficult for us if we choose to hold on. But if we take the position of the vessel or verity consciousness, and we see ourselves as inseparable from the infinite flow of divine consciousness and the infinite flow of prosperity that the universe is, then everything that we need is always provided. There's unlimited supply, but we have to open up the space for it. And in order to open up the space for it, we must create space for it. So we must be willing to let go, And when we let go, more can come in. And trusting that process, I know, is really, really challenging. But that is the lesson. Because we cannot know our true power until we are willing to let go of the control, let go of the attachments. When we can let it all go, and we can see tremendous prosperity flowing into our lives as a result, then we begin to trust. We begin to develop that faith, develop that knowing of how the universal law works, how it flows through us. So this is, I think, what this is all about, folks. I think this is where we're at. This is what we're being called to do. And you have a choice. I have a choice. We all have a choice of what we want in this life right here, right now. Do we want freedom, or do we want to be controlled? And when you choose freedom, then you have absolute freedom. You have it, and nothing and no one has any control over you. But it's something that you have to test. You have to put it to the test, and you have to experience it. You have to be a discoverer. It's sort of like being a researcher. You have to discover it for yourself. So if you find yourself in a really challenging place and you're trying to decide what to do, and I know the fears that you can be facing when you're looking at having to potentially leave your home or let go of things that you know that you really need, the roof over your head, the car that you drive, all those things. And it doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen, but sometimes that does happen because we're holding on so tight that we're not willing to let go, and we have to kind of hit rock bottom and go through that dark night of the soul to come out on the other side and step into a life that is beyond our wildest dreams. Sometimes we have to go through that. But even if you got to let go of everything, you're still here. You're still here. And you'll always be okay. You'll be okay. What determines how much you have to release is determined by how tight you're holding on. So I just want to share that with all of you. And this is the time to step into your power and prove to yourself that you are 100% empowered, loved, and meant to have all that your heart's desire. But you have to know what your heart desires. So you must dream. You must set intentions. You must know what makes your heart sing. You must know what lights up your life. And if you're not living like that, then you can get caught in the tornado of chaos, because there is a tornado, a tsunami of chaos. And you don't have to get caught up in it. But if you hold on tight, then that's the magnetic force for everything that everyone who is afraid to let go of is attracting. It's like a huge magnetic force that just draws all the fear to it. So let go. Let go, liberate yourself, step into your power, and I'll see you on my next video. If you find that this video is really helpful for you, please take the time to like it, share it. There's a lot of people who need some inspiration. I hope that you found this inspirational. And peace and love, everybody. I look forward to seeing you on my next video. Bye-bye.